Hey everyone, it's me Catherine and today I'm here to talk about my plans for October. Now we are already a couple of days in, but we've still got most of October left. So I just wanted to talk about what I'm going to be doing. I haven't done a TBR, like a non-readathon TBR, in a long time. I don't tend to plan my months because I very rarely stick to it and I just didn't see the point, failed to see the point. However, October is the only month I ever plan for because it comes with a ready-made theme that's just so helpful. And it's just so helpful that it comes with a ready-made theme to keep me motivated to do stuff. So, I'm here to talk about that stuff. First up, I want to talk about something I started doing a couple of years ago. So I think this is only the third year I've done it and I still haven't got a name for it. I need to think of a name because at the minute I have an empty title box on this spread in my journal. And what I do is every day in October, or as many days as I can, I aim for every day, but obviously things, you can't account for life getting in the way. I watch a horror movie, and it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly horror, like the criteria is very loose, but as long as it's like horror, thriller, in that sort of category, I watch one every day of October. I think I did mostly okay the first time I did it. Last year I got halfway through October before I started playing the Yakuza series, which was a big mistake because that consumed like nearly 2 months of my life. So that was a thing. This year, I've got a proper journal spread for it. I still don't have a name for it yet. I need to work on what to call it. But this year, I'm really excited, really pumped, and I'm here to attempt it again. One horror film, / maybe a thriller, every day in October, and we're in, October 3rd. I haven't watched today's yet, but I already have 2 films down. So all the films I'm going to be watching are on Netflix. There's enough on Netflix to keep me busy for a while. And I am prioritizing international films this year. Like I'm prioritizing films that were not made in English. So like on the first day, on October 1st, I watched #Alive, which is a Korean film starring Yoo In and Park Shin-hye. I'm not going to talk about my thoughts, I will talk about my thoughts in my wrap up, but I'm just saying that. And then last night I watched The Bridge Curse, which I believe is Taiwanese. So I'm really excited to get through that. If you have any recommendations like for me that are on either UK Netflix or Amazon Prime, then do let me know. I was talking about films, wasn't I? I can't remember what I said. It's been like 3 minutes since. But anyway, so that's my plan for films. So any recommendations that have got to be on like either UK Netflix or Amazon Prime, like let me know. So that is part 1 of my plans for October. Part 2 is video games. Now I have 2 games that I definitely want to play because I need to finish them. I started them and I need to finish them. The first one is Prey. I've had Prey going since Prey was released. I think I got it the year it came out. Was it 2016? I've been playing Prey since 2016. But it's quite stressful, so I play it in chunks. And it has been a while since the last chunk, and I'm pretty sure I'm almost finished with the game. I can't be far from the end at all. But Prey, if you don't know, is from Arcane Studio. They're the guys who made the Dishonored series, which I really enjoyed. Something I also need to play. Like I only played Dishonored. I started Dishonored 2, have not finished it. But that's a completely different thing. Anyway, Prey, really enjoyed it. It's set on it's basically set in space. And there are this alien matter goop that has taken over this space station, and you have to go through and it's good. It's good. It's excellent. It is played in first person though, as Dishonored was. So I know some people can't play first person games. I know I can't play certain first person games. Some of them I'm okay with, some of them I'm not okay with because they make me motion sick, which is not a fun time when you're playing a video game. But touch wood, like I didn't have it with Dishonored. I've not had it so far with Prey that I can recall. It has not affected me. So but it is terrifying. For me anyway, it is terrifying. But I enjoy it a lot, so I want to get that finished. Finally want to get that finished, so it's done. It's done, I can say I've finished it. And then the other one is Observation, which I started last year, also set in space. This one, you're on a space station, and I think like power's been lost. You've been, basically, you play the AI on this space station, and you play going through so you go through the security cams, and you're helping the character whose name I've forgotten try to figure out what the hell's gone on, and it's spooky, and I need to finish it. I started this last October, intended to finish it. Like I said, Yakuza happened last October, so I intend to finish that this time, because I don't even think it's that long a game. I think it's quite relatively short, so I think I could probably get it finished in a sitting. So I kind of want to get that done. I can't remember who did Observation. I can't remember who got the guys who did Observation. Can't remember. But yeah, they're the two games I definitely want to get finished. And I've also got a list of games that are available on Game Pass to play with my sister on Mondays when she comes round, because we're taking a break from Ghost of Tsushima. So let's have a look what our choices are. Right, so we've got Deliverers to the Moon, which is a sci-fi thriller set in apocalyptic near future where Earth's natural resources are depleted. A lunar colony providing a vital supply of energy has gone silent. A lone astronaut is sent to the moon on a critical mission to save humanity from extinction. Will you save mankind or be forgotten in the dark abyss of space? I know very little about this game, only what I've seen from the trailer and from what it says in the description. It's got a haunting orchestral soundtrack, which should be excellent. It looks like there's puzzles, claustrophobic, suspense-driven action, it claims, but we'll see. So that's Deliverers to the Moon by Wired Productions. Then we have Night Call, which is more like a murder, mystery, thriller type, because you are a taxi driver who is a survivor of a serial killer's most recent attacks. And you have 7 nights to help find the killer, or the police are going to pin it on you. So you've basically got to figure out who the serial killer is from the passengers in your taxi that you take in your taxi, and hope that one of them isn't the serial killer who recognises you and decides to finally finish the job. Which sounds like it might be interesting. Slightly stressful because it's time constrained, and time limits stress me out so much. So we'll see about that one. And that's by Raw Fury. Then we have Kona by Ravenscourt. This one, Josie's picked quite a few of these, is set in northern Canada, 1970. A strange blizzard ravages Atamipek. I'm sorry if that's wrong, Lake. Step into the shoes of a detective to explore the eerie village, investigate surreal events, and battle the elements to survive. This is probably the first installment in a series of 4 games. She didn't tell me that bit. So I guess it's a mystery, survival, I guess. I have no idea. But, it seems cool. And then we have Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice by Ninja Theory Limited, which we're following Senua, who experiences psychosis. And from what I've heard and what I've seen, like the developers they did the research, talked to neuroscientists, worked with people who do experience psychosis to make this game. And I don't know if it's technically horror, but it's definitely I think it's definitely a bit spooky, and one I think this is the one I'm most tempted to play, because it's been on my list of things I want to play for a while now. So I think that's probably going to be higher on the list. So they're my choices for games to play with Josie. We'll see which one we pick. I might guide her. I think she really wants to play the taxi. She's really interested by the taxi one. But I'll see if I can't push her more towards Hellblade Sacrifice. No, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. You know, I never remember the title right, ever. Always get that wrong. So that's it for games for October. And then finally on to books I want to read. I have made myself a list on Scribd called October TBR. It's not specifically books that I'm only going to read in October, but it's books that for when October rolls around, if I haven't already read them, I can read them. And the criteria for books in that TBR is very loose. Like, it's the horror, thriller, like anything that's vaguely supernatural, thrillery, horror-y, like, it's included in this. Very, very loose, because I have a couple on that I'm definitely not sure would be horror at all. Because we have Rashomon and Other Stories by Ryunosuke Akutagawa. Oh, fucking hell. I always get stuck on his name. Ryunosuke Akutagawa. This one's been, I put this on because like some of the stories are described as like disturbing, and for me disturbing, like, get that in horror. That's like sort of spooky, vaguely horror-y. Get that in there. Also, I've been meaning to read some more Japanese like fiction, like. And we also have the other one that's like very vague in The Gilda Stories by Jewel Gomez, which does not sound very horror-y at all, except vampires. I think this is more like sexy than it is horror, but because it has vampires in it, that's why it's on this list. This is set in 1850s Louisiana, where Gilda, not sure, escapes slavery and learns about freedom while working in a brothel. After being initiated into eternal life as one who shares the blood by two women there, Gilda spends the next 200 years searching for a place to call home. An instant lesbian classic, when it was first published in 1991, The Gilda Stories has endured as an auspiciously prescient book in its explorations of blackness, radical ecology, redefinitions of family, and yes, the erotic potential of the vampire story. I'm very interested in this book, and because it's been on my TBR for a while this year, this has been on my Scribd TBR I think pretty much all year, so as soon as I decided to make this October TBR, I was like, you know what, this has vampires in it, however vague. Vampires are like a horror element, so let's get that in this TBR. Other things I have on here, I'm not going to go into depth on all of them because I think there's like 17 books or something stupid in here, but we have The Labyrinth of the Scriptorium by Hitoshi Goto. I think this is this one's a mystery thriller set in modern Europe. We have So Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. I don't know if this one's actually like horror, but it's it says spine-tingling novel about three teenage girls who face off against an insidious monster that preys upon young women. That sounds vaguely horror-y enough for me. We've got Audition by Ryu Murakami. This is... what's this one? Something about death of his wife, has not dated anyone else, now even his teenage son thinks that he should remarry, and his best friend Yoshikawa comes up with a plan to hold fake film auditions from which he can choose a bride. That sounds dodgy. Of the thousands who apply, it is a beautiful ballerina, Yamasaki Asami, who captivates Aoyama. Infatuated by a fragile nature and nervous smile, he ignores his increasing sense of unease, putting aside his doubts about his new love until it may be too late. In Audition, Ryu Murakami delivers his most subtly disturbing novel yet, confirming him as Japan's master of the psycho thriller. So that's why that made it in there. That's why that's in. We've got Ring by Koji Suzuki, which is the novel that inspired the Japanese film. So obvious reasons that's on there. I Have the Right to Destroy Myself is only 98 pages. It's very short. This is a mesmerising novel of a love triangle and a mysterious disappearance in South Korea. Mystery, I think maybe there's vaguely... It's very loose criteria, this, very loose. We also have The Good House by Tananana. I'm terribly sorry. She has too many there's too many nads there, and I struggle with words that have too many of the same sound in my mouth gets stuck on him and I can't. It's Tana na. I don't know if it's Rive or Reeve. I should have looked these up. Oh my god. Now is it Dew or Due? I promise, when I read these, I will absolutely look up the pronunciation. I usually do quite well remembering to look up pronunciations of authors, but I didn't. But this is about a house. About a scary haunted house. A chilling story set in a small town in the Pacific Northwest. An unexpected tragedy ripped Angela's family apart. Is moving past her grief and taking control of her life as a talent agent in Los Angeles, and she's finally ready to revisit the rural house she loved so much as a child. Back in Sacagawea, I hope I pronounced that right, Angela realises she hasn't been the only one to suffer a shocking loss. Since she left, there have been more senseless tragedies, and Angela wonders if they are related somehow. So I'm guessing there's like a mystery surrounding the house. Haunted house. It's under mystery, thriller and crime, but you know... Then we have The Ballad of Black Tom. This is another short one. This is only 3 hours 9 minutes. The audiobook length anyway. By Victor Laval, narrated by Kevin R. Free. And this... Ooh, okay, so people move to New York looking for magic and nothing will convince them it isn't there. Charles Thomas Tester hustles to put food on the table, keep the roof over his father's head, from Harlem to Flushing Meadows to Red Hook. He knows what magic a suit can cast, the invisibility a guitar case can provide, and the curse written on his black skin that attracts the eye of wealthy white folks and their trained cops. But when he delivers an occult page to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens, Tom opens a door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. A storm that might swallow the world is building in Brooklyn. Will Black Tom live to see it break? Ooh, that sounds really good. And it's only 3 hours and 9 minutes. A lot's going to happen in those 3 hours and 9 minutes. Bloody hell. Then we have another short one. This one's only 196 pages. This is I think she's French. Like the character. I was not paying attention. I don't know what the last thing my camera recorded. So whatever's missed, I will put in. Editing me will put it in. You hear that, Catherine? Put it in. Okay, so editing me here, remembering to put this bit in because I do what I say I'm gonna do most of the time. And basically, all we missed was me contemplating how to pronounce Adriana. And in the end I settled for Adriana because it mentions she's French, and from what little French I remember, French don't pronounce the H's, so basically, I'm just contemplating how to pronounce both the name and the title of the book and the name of the author. Oh my god, the lighting in here is awful. I do apologise for the state of the lighting, and then I'm going to apologise for the state of me. This is me. Never apologise for the state of yourself. Right, so it is Adriana, which is the pronunciation I'm going for, so please do correct me if it's wrong. So this is Adriana in All My Dreams by René Depestre and translated by Edwidge Danticat, which I almost certainly butchered. But that's basically all you missed, was me going through. I mean, I did go through the description, but I will do the synopsis again in but a matter of seconds. So that's it. Adriana in All My Dreams by René Depestre and translated by Edwidge Danticat. Like I said, my French is very, very, very rusty, and I only know France French, so I don't know if this is different French. France French. Anyway, back to... Right, so we're talking about Adriana in My Dreams. I've already forgotten what the... Yeah, Adriana in All My Dreams. So, set against a backdrop of magic and eroticism and recounted with delirious humour, the novel raises universal questions about race and sexuality. The reader comes away enchanted by the marvellous reality of Haiti's voodoo culture and convinced of Depestre's lusty claim that all beings, even the undead ones, have a right to happiness and true love. That's it. This is the one about someone who gets married, but on the day of her wedding she drinks a potion and, like, zombies, basically. I believe. We also have Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier. This is clowns, which are terrifying. I'm pretty sure it's murder clowns. Tell me it's murder clowns. Maybe it's the Clown Museum. Yeah, I think it's murder clowns. Pretty sure that one's murder clowns. We also have My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite, which is, I think, the title suggests. This one I think is more lighthearted. This is definitely on the dark comedy side, is it? It's supposed to be like quite funny. That's as fun as it is frightening. Yep. There's been, I know that one's definitely made the rounds on BookTube. We also have Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, which is zombies horror. We also have The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham James, which I think has made the rounds on BookTube. We have A Quiet Place by Seiichi Matsumoto, which is a psychological thriller. Untamed Shore by Silvia Moreno Garcia, because Mexican Gothic is not on here, but this one I think is first thriller is a coming-of-age story set in Mexico which quickly turns dark when a young woman meets three enigmatic tourists. It's a mystery thriller, and like I wanted to read Mexican Gothic, but it's not on here, so Untamed Shore is what I've gone with. And we also have Fledgling by Octavia E. Butler, which I believe is another vampire, genetically modified 50-year-old vampire. And then the last one we have is Frankenstein in Baghdad, which sounds like it's only got 3 stars on Scribd, but it sounds quite interesting. From the rubble-strewn streets of US occupied... Oh, did I say who this one was by? Now it's A.H. letter Ahmed. Oh, for fuck's sake. So it's I'm sure A.H. is the... But is that in all of them? Ahmed Saadawi. This is from the rubble-strewn streets of US-occupied Baghdad. Hadi collects body parts from the dead, which he stitches together to form a corpse. He claims he does it to force the government to recognise the parts as real people and give them a proper burial. But when the corpse goes missing, a wave of eerie murders sweeps across the city and reports stream in of a horrendous-looking, flesh-eating monster that cannot be killed. At first, it's the guilty he attacks, but soon, it's anyone who crosses his path. Frankenstein in Baghdad brilliantly captures the horror and black humour of a city at war, and that just sounds really, really interesting to me. So they're the books I have on my Scribd TBR. I also have 2 books that I already own that I want to get to, and they are volumes 2 and 3 of Tokyo Ghoul by Ishida Sui. I read volume 1 either earlier this year or last year. I genuinely can't remember at this point, because what even is time? But I have let my Japanese slack so much these past couple of months, so I need to get back into it. So volumes 2 and 3 of Tokyo Ghoul are also on my list of things to read. These ones I definitely want to get to. I haven't decided which ones out of the October TBR list I'm going to get to, but we shall see. Those are my plans for October, not including anything that I'm carrying over from September, because that'll not be like Halloween, horror, spooky related, so don't need to worry about that. These are my brand new, fresh, shiny, sparkly plans for October. So that is going to be it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what your plans are for October, if you have any special plans. I know some people don't care for Halloween that much. I happen to really enjoy it, as do quite a few people. And it's also, October is when it starts to get really autumny. It's not hot anymore. I cannot stand the heat. I cannot wait. Cannot wait to get all my jumpers out. So excited. But anyway, yeah, so let me know your plans for October, if you have any special plans. Even if you don't, like, what are your plans in general? Is there something you want to get done by the time October's over? Please do let me know. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will hopefully see you in another video. Bye!